Rebus today looks like a little bit different business today, more focused on that kind of logistics, I guess. So, could you kind of walk us through, what led to that business, and then, maybe share a little bit more, at the later stages, what that started to look like?
Lots and lots of learnings here. So it's probably quite a long answer, Mike. So buckle up. Look, what I really take away from the time at Reibus, I left Reibus about 2.5, nearly 3 years ago now, was that when we started, it was very much about connecting those buyers and sellers. But what we didn't realize at the time was that, and in reflection, and I think about a lot, is we were making the industry more efficient. It was an enhancement solution. It wasn't a critical pain point. So I think that's something to think about. Like, it was clearly a better way to do it, but if they didn't do it, nobody got fired, and it wasn't the end of that company. So that stickiness, we found continually having to resell a value proposition was something we had to do very often. And this is even with clients that were spending $10, $20 million a year with us. We still had to do that. The second thing we hadn't considered at scale was we were operating in the commodity part of the market, so really at the raw material. And the raw material would fluctuate. Our highest, I think we were selling steel at $2,200 a ton. Our lowest, we were selling steel at $550 a ton. So if you take 2023, we grew to $320 million of revenue, significant revenue, about $35 million of net revenue. And steel prices collapsed in 2024, 3x. And our goal was to double. So we actually needed to 6x after 3 or 4 years worth of 1,000-3,000% growth. So that was the commodity element of our business was a fundamental flaw in the business model that we got so big so quick we hadn't actually realized. This is cost plus 10% on a truck of steel could be $1,500 or $6,000. Right, so our take rate was based on the cost of our raw material. So that was something that we struggled with. And then to the point, we actually, for me, the business grew. We ended up in offices in 3 countries. We had a finance business. We had a logistics business. And quite frankly, we did everything way too quick. And that's a lot to do with our funding profile, who do we decided to take money from, how we set our goals for growth, etc. So a lot of responsibility on me for that. But what we really did is we tried to do way too much, way too quickly. And that caught up with us really around that period of time. And so I left the organization and the business decided to focus really on the profitable side of the business. And what was really interesting about the logistics part of the business, that's a necessity. That's something that it doesn't matter the price of steel. You have to move the steel. It's a real function. The pain of moving the logistics due to the shortage of drivers and all those challenges there was very real. So very quickly, that business was always basically break even. And I've not been involved with that side of the business for a couple of years now, but it's a very good business. It generates positive cash flow, it generates profit, and it's a pretty large logistics business in the steel and aluminum place. It's one of the go-to places if you want to move steel and aluminum. So that's really what happened there. I'm sure there'll be lots of questions about that, and happy to answer them.